and welcome to another ohmTown Daily, Season 2, episode, I can't do the number with my hands, 275 for October 2nd, 2023. Tonight we're going to discuss Minecraft and Dungeons & Dragons merging. Fake voices are fraud and should be illegal. First fastest fast food, friends. Cooler screens are hot in Walgreens. An ethical bag of beans. Our public service announcement for today are Hyundai gas-powered barbecue. Why is my latte so damn expensive? Fake property manager defrauds renters. How did that work? Top wishlisted Steam games are city builders. And space debris penalty. So hello everybody, I am Merwat, that is ohmTown.com, and up there is the ring of sentient AI. Ooh. Oh. You want to say hi?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Yeah, see, they use really big words. I just say, yo, what's up? The sentient AI says, good evening. Welcome to your doom. I delete that routine though, so they just say hello. Or in Star Wars parlance, hello there. Anyway, we already got all of our articles. I already told you what the intro is. Let's get into our very first article. So I found out about this Minecraft and Dungeons & Dragons. It's a review. It's over at Screen Rant of all places. Is a new collaborative DLC between Everbloom Games and Wizards of the Coast, which basically kind of wet the bed a while back, and I don't think they've really fully recovered, but maybe I'm on the outside and don't really know what's going on with that anymore. Anyway, with its dungeon crawling gameplay and iconic locations from the Forgotten Realms, it's a surprisingly immersive experience that actually feels like D&D. It also works as a nice family-friendly alternative to Baldur's Gate. Something which there are scenes of that are shocking to squirrels, let alone parents. So be careful if your kids are watching or playing.
Or your squirrels are watching.
Or your squirrels. You have to be nuts to let your squirrels watch Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs. It's a little risky. I mean, there's so much relationship stuff in that you go, what? Why? Oh, okay, whatever. I guess. Hey. Anyway, this article is over at Screen Rant. Austin King is the author. I urge you to go over to Screen Rant if you've never been there. In fact, as a reminder, I'm going to throw that into the VOD and thus the show notes. Like all the other episodes, they're all over at YouTube. After 60 days here on Twitch, they disappear, they vaporize, like my paycheck. And
I never understood why they do that, but anyway,
because they would have to store thousands upon thousands and thousands of, like, probably picobytes, or petabytes, sorry. Pico is the small, peta is the large, so petabytes of data. They just can't do that. And maybe they don't have the same level of compression that YouTube has, because when I download something from Twitch, it's massive compared to what it is when I get it from YouTube. So whatever they're using over on YouTube is basically pretty primo, and it actually makes a high enough quality version of the audio track that it can be turned into a podcast. So that's always a win. Well, anyway, the article over at Screen Rant is titled Impressively Like D&D, Minecraft and Dungeons & Dragons Review. This is a Minecraft games, but it's in the Forgotten Realms space, and it is a DLC that you download from the marketplace. It costs, technically, there's a jump between one price point and another price point, to clear it so that you could get it for somebody else and yourself if you've got a kid is $20. So it's basically $10 to get this DLC. But it is a Minecraft experience with D&D experience tacked on. And I think that it looks compelling. It's a new collaborative DLC between Everbloom Games and Wizards of the Coast. If you haven't migrated your account over, by the way, you have, I think, 60 days. And if you don't migrate it, it's like the automated migration is no longer active. You have to make a request to migrate it now. So if you haven't done it, you better hustle. Because the old Minecraft logins won't work anymore. You have to use the Microsoft logins. And it's a whole thing. New loader, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so get on it. So the Dungeons & Dragons DLC for Minecraft is fully voice acted and will take adventures through locations like Candlekeep and Icewind Dale with 4 playable classes and a host of recognizable monsters like beholders. The DNA of D&D runs pretty much through every aspect of the DLC. I love the idea of it. It says it's all coded in the blocky Minecraft aesthetic, and combined with its dungeon crawling elements, it means it feels like classic RPGs like Wizardry or Ultima, which brings me back to a bygone age where I didn't give a care about anything in the world except losing myself to a 3-day weekend playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. Sorry, everybody. I may become a Minecraft D&D main here, streaming on Twitch. I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna play it and see if it actually has legs. If it doesn't have long-term playability, then it's all for naught. But I like Minecraft. What I typically didn't like within Minecraft is you had to be your own dungeon master or game master. You had to adventure on your own and create your own whatever's, quests and whatnot. But I like expansion packs and other stuff that you can add to Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons drags me all the way back to being a kid. And I love the idea of this. The only thing that I don't like about this is that it introduces people to Wizards of the Coast, which, although is D&D, they kind of wet the bed recently, changing the entire dynamic about charging content creators who happen to use their stuff. Go ahead.
How do you think that's going to apply to Minecraft, if at all?
See, now, I haven't even bothered looking into this. Like, there isn't anybody that completely precludes playing their game. Nintendo might be the only one that comes close to, like, saying we don't like you playing our games publicly, but even they let you play. It's when you start doing things that they don't agree with that it starts posing a problem, but you never know exactly what that is until you get a cease and desist.
Right. We'll know it when we see it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what color blue is my favorite color, but blue is my favorite color. I'll know it when I see it. And I've gone my entire life. I've never found the one that truly is my favorite color, even though blue isn't my favorite color. Plus, I would never tell you anyway. Not you, the AI, but you, the world out there. Come on. Cybersecurity.
It's not a good... Exactly.
Oh, sorry to steal your wind. I know. I'm sorry. You out there don't get to see the interaction of the cascading characters from the sentient AI that I found in a parking lot.
There was definitely a downturn there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Sad bits falling. So, tears of a sentient AI is just like ones and zeros, just cascading like so many ones and zeros. Anyway, it says all along the way, adventurers will encounter a range of NPCs and enemies, delve into dungeons, fight bosses straight from the pages of the monster manual. Man, this is just speaking to me. So I haven't read or looked at any other person's review other than this. And this is actually kind of soft pedaling this. It's not, really cheerleading it like crazy, at least so far. It says the DLC is fairly meaty, offering around 10 hours of gameplay, but because it's not a massive or full game like Minecraft Legends or Baldur's Gate 3, there are some limitations of what players can do and how much exploring can be done. Still, the DLC strikes a balance between randomness and exploration. This, saying that it only has 10 hours of gameplay, puts the kibosh on me being able to stream it regularly, because 10 hours is one stream. So I would be done with this in one day. So players shouldn't expect to be creating entire kingdoms within the DLC, and they have instead, and what they have instead is an enjoyable dungeon delving adventure that feels true to its source materials. So I'm not sure where it's capped. If you are in only X number of, oh, I forgot the name of them. There's little
like realms
chunks.
or something.
It's chunks. No. It's cubes of distance that make up the spaces, and you go from chunk to chunk, and your view is measured in chunks. And what you find in a chunk is like a percentage chance of finding something like diamonds or coal or something. You know, it depends on where you are in the strata. Minecraft is an amazing thing, and it's actually kind of slowly evolving to add more stuff until you look at things like CurseForge, where you can load up all kinds of content, hundreds and hundreds of mods that probably thousands of mods, but the top 50 would probably be enough to keep you busy in Minecraft forever. Let alone just the top 10. The top 10 really, it's kind of like the Pareto principle. You got 80% of the world would be overwhelmed with things to do with just the top 10. The other 20 are diehard people that would never satisfied with anything, and they just keep on pushing the limit. You'll see those people over on YouTube and on Twitch playing for 12, 18 hours a day. But they're out there. I mean, people really do love Minecraft. Why do you think Microsoft bought it for $1 billion?
Exactly. Oh, it must be because nobody plays it.
That's right. So their final thoughts are something that I'm going to just tease you with. You can go over to Screen Rant. Follow the link through ohmTown. It's in the chat. It'll be in the show notes. Go and check it out. You can get your final thoughts about it straight from Screen Rant. Did you want to add anything else to this?
Well, you didn't ask for a non-gamer's perspective. I mean, does it fix the one problem of falling in the water all the time in Minecraft?
No. That's entirely pilot error.
I'll hold out for the next next update.
I don't even know if there's a mod that allows you to walk on water as like a character class, because there are some mods out there that make it Minecraft more fantastical. You can actually play
that would
Pokemon.
be very beneficial.
The phrase "get good" is probably better.
Probably applicable.
I better move on to the next article before the sentient AI finds that Terminator body. So the next article is kind of, it's leading me to want a soapbox, but I'm gonna fight the urge, and just let everybody know what my take is on this. Okay, so it's in the ohmTown Daily channel, which is also this show, but it's a channel over on ohmTown.com. It's the home of this show. And the title of this article is 5 Celebrity Voices Reimagined by AI as Tom Hanks Sounds Alarm. Now, this is also it was co-aggregated with an article about what is his name here? Hold on a second. Let me just go over to the source. So Megan Ruse over at newsweek.com put this article together, and it has a video. What is AI? Everything to know about artificial intelligence, but it's not speaking to what this is. But Tom Hanks, actor Tom Hanks, is warning his fans against believing a video that he said appears to be showing him endorsing a dental plan. The video was created using artificial intelligence, Hanks alleged in a weekend post on Instagram. right?
The other one was Robin Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they are actually listed in this article as well. SAG-AFTRA was having an issue with AI. The AMTPTP, I don't know. It's a TP anyway. Was sitting there saying, well, we want to be able to use AI, and the writers and actors are railing against the use of AI because at least one actor said that they were scanned and their likeness could be used in perpetuity for a single day's pay. I thought that was pretty shocking. Well, Bruce Willis, their voice and likeness were used in a commercial released last year, citing a statement on Willis's website that Willis sold the necessary permissions to use his image for these kinds of projects.
That might be for different reasons, though.
For
because
Bruce Willis?
He has public health issues where he probably cannot continue to act.
Yeah, he has something, I think, similar to dementia.
Correct. I just can't think of what the specific condition is called.
Yeah. So it says Willis's representatives later denied that he had sold these rights, according to Wired and Fortune. So there should be fit. There should be fit hitting the shan here any minute, right? Well, Robin Williams, in another article, the daughter of Robin Williams, Zelda Williams, actually is speaking out because somebody apparently used Robin Williams' voice, synthesized by AI. And again, I think that in all of these cases, right, Anthony Bourdain, Taylor Swift, Val Kilmer, who, as far as I know, lost the ability to speak. If Val Kilmer uses an AI to synthesize his exact voice, fine. That's fine.
And it looks like in that instance that did happen.
Right. So
for him.
But it's supposed to be for him, right? And he is the one that's in control of that voice. And if he chooses, right? Now, here's my problem with this. I have no problem with somebody making a voice that is similar to Val Kilmer's, to Taylor Swift's, to Anthony Bourdain's, to Robin Williams, to Bruce Willis, all the way up to Tom Hanks at the top of this article. No problem with it. Why? Because someone out there has a duplicate voice of these people. It's so eerily parallel that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if you closed your eyes. The problem comes when somebody lays claim to it being an authentic representation of Tom Hanks or Bruce Willis or any other person. And I'm not even talking about actor or famous celebrity of any kind. The moment that you synthesize a person's voice and claim it as theirs, it's fraud. And you should be charged for misrepresentation. Because it's tantamount to libel or slander, depending on what the framework is, right? Because if it's written word, it's one. If it's spoken word, it's another. If you sit there and synthesize somebody's voice and then say that it's them, you had better have some evidence that it wasn't them. Because when I come knocking on your door with a lawsuit, because what you have said has ruined my reputation, my job prospects, my career opportunities, relationships, all kinds of pain and suffering can come from faking somebody's voice. And nobody can tell the difference in a podcast or in some recording somewhere, but the damage can be massive. And these people live off of their reputation. The moment that somebody does something horrendous, they take a huge financial hit. So I think that the misrepresentation, and if you sit there and say, well, it's satire, audio satire doesn't work unless it's so off the wall crazy.
It has to be like over the top, yes.
Yeah. It has to be obviously satirical. It can't be the subtle stuff where it's so realistic that you could sit there and go, did they really say that? And the only way for you to know that they didn't say it would be to do the due diligence necessary. But nobody does nowadays, nobody does due diligence to verify that the statements have been made truthfully or not. Snopes basically has to become a filter for fraud, which is really fascinating. And I really can't count how many times I've looked at Snopes to go, did somebody really say that? One of the newest ones that I've found was, who's that senator in North Carolina? I think senator, right? He's one of the, in my opinion, the Wingnut Consortium. What is his name?
Are you thinking of the one from South Carolina?
Maybe it's South Carolina. I can't remember.
Lindsey Graham?
Yeah, Lindsey Graham, South Carolina. Thank you. So there's a recording apparently of him saying that he likes to cross-dress. But Snopes is the one that said that it's not legit.
Like it's a fake, yeah.
Yeah, but people were talking about it. People were reporting on it. And I'm sitting there going, y'all can't do that. You can't sit there and say that something
exactly.
You have to do some modicum of, responsible reporting. So,
and
anyway.
I see we have Snopes as a source in ohmTown, but a lot of times I don't necessarily want to submit those articles because then it's almost like we're reporting on the false piece of it, not the the correction of it during the show.
Sure, but others can go and check it out. My main focus for this article was the fact that I think that misrepresentation of somebody's voice should be illegal. It's fraud. You aren't the one that is... You don't have permission to use their voice in a way that makes you the one reporting or posting someone else's words. You don't have, power of attorney, or you don't have some right to legally represent somebody making these statements.
Well, I think this one's even worse because it's promoting something medical.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's promoting sale of a t-shirt or something, which is, that isn't necessarily going to harm somebody. I don't mean the likeness issue won't, but this is like another layer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that we can ramp up, just how bad something can be, but like, that's like a doom scroll kind of a thing. Let's find some instance of which one is worse.
No matter what it is used for.
Yeah. But let's set the precedent that if you falsely represent somebody through voice or AI, it should be criminal. You are fraudulently claiming that somebody made this statement or did this act or endorsed this product. Can you imagine if somebody gets harmed by some medical product that was endorsed by an AI representation of someone with worldwide...
well, that's where it's going to get real quickly, but that's the other problem, right? People think that, oh my gosh, that's associated with Tom Hanks. And so then they think Tom Hanks is a bad person, even though he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Even if he wins a lawsuit or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have to sit there and claw back your reputation. Good luck. Okay, let's keep on going. Pardon me one second. So the next article is over in the mobile channel. What's the fastest fast food drive-through? Well, according to the article, it isn't Chick-fil-A. I know which one it is. So let's go over to the source of this article. It's at thehill.com. This video has absolutely nothing to do with it. Let me refresh this and see. Yeah. So there is a video that's actually on brand for it. But Addie Bink is the author of this article over at thehill.com under a category called Changing America, which America's always changing. It's such a weird title for a series, but all right. Anyway, In Touch Insight has released its annual drive-through study, which analyzes the top fast food chains across multiple categories. This year, they conducted nearly 1,500 drive-through visits at 10 chains nationwide. Overall, InTouch Insights analysis found that the fast food giants are getting better in multiple categories. I know one they're getting really good at: taking money out of my wallet. So
exactly.
I'm getting better at not enabling that. So if you're going through a fast food drive-through, you probably will have some expectations. The food will come fast. The service will be super. I almost made it through that.
This is a little bit sarcastic, I think.
And the food will be exactly as you ordered it. Well, I mean, other than the food will come fast, it's kind of like I can't say that. Nobody rides for free phrase. Gas. Yeah. No. Okay. The AI is waving me off. I shouldn't finish that phrase. Anyway, this is here, like, the food will come fast. The service will be super. The food will be exactly as you ordered it. Pick one.
Or pick half of one.
So the new survey shows some fast food chains are better at delivering on those promises than others. They actually measured 10 chains: Arby's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', Hardee's, KFC, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. Do you already know which one it is?
Unfortunately, yes, only because I looked ahead at the article because I wanted to see, but I would not have guessed which one it was.
Cheater.
I would have assumed it was McDonald's.
I'm kind of bummed that it is what it is, because when I go through, more often than not, the tacos at Taco Bell are stale. The ones that aren't stale are paper thin, and so they have to have been constructed within within 2 minutes, or I'm like at peak turnover, right? But like the nachos are always kind of and the what are the Doritos Locos tacos, those are like wafer thin. You breathe too heavy at that bag and it's gonna crack. So anyway, Taco Bell is the one that actually took the crown, because ultimately you're going to be sitting on the throne.
Burger King is the one with the crown.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you didn't hear what I said about sitting on the throne. Anyway, the fastest fast food drive-through. I don't know why they go. It isn't Chick-fil-A, because
isn't that the one known for its efficiency? I mean, the people come out and take your orders, and supposedly, I think we saw some other study that it was fast, but
I don't think so.
It doesn't seem very fast as a consumer.
It's never fast. I've never had. It's never fast for me. It's just, I crave their chicken fortnightly. Now I want Chick-fil-A. Yep, time to go get a second mortgage. See ya.
Right, so that'll buy one order of chicken or whatever.
Chicken nuggets, yeah. Or a salad. My goodness, man, salads. That's why I've actually taken on microgreens, growing my own salads. It's so much better. Our last crop was something like 18 cups in a very small footprint. It's pretty good, folks. It's pretty good stuff. And the price that you pay for the stuff that's involved, it's like one. Yeah,
once you get the setup, it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah.
Plus, you can add your fresh salad to almost anything that you're buying.
Yeah, it's
including your fast food.
That really pumps it up. Yeah. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this article. This article's in ohmTown Daily. Walgreens says cooler screens caught fire and showed the wrong prices in its stores. It's not capitalized in the title, which is not normally what happens when a name brand is used, but Cooler Screens is a brand of door that goes on the refrigerated section of grocery stores. It's called Cooler Screens. The company behind the displays plan to roll out the screens in hundreds of Walgreens locations. The problems were detailed in documents that Walgreens filed in response to a lawsuit. Screens Walgreens installed on some of its in-store coolers allegedly caught fire, according to documents filed in a lawsuit. I don't know why it would catch fire, but let's go over to Business Insider.
Especially since it's near a freezer.
Cooler, yeah. Alex Bitter is the author. Again, it's titled Walgreens Says Cooler Screens Caught Fire and Showed the Wrong Prices in Its Stores.
Which is the bigger issue?
Prices.
Clearly.
The prices were so hot, the screens caught on fire. Walgreens said that the screens on some of its cooler doors caught fire and malfunctioned. I think that would be a malfunction. Why not just say malfunctioned and caught fire? Cooler Screens, the company behind the displays, plan to roll out screens in hundreds of Walgreens locations. Oh, by the way, so this has actually been like a talk of social media. We actually mentioned them once before. And people were taking pictures of how these new screens are showing ads and stuff like that. But that's a function of the software that the store could disable so that it showed what the contents were inside those particular coolers.
Right. People didn't want to wait for the ads to see the information, which is understandable.
Totally understand that. It hadn't been installed all the way, so the contents of the freezers weren't available for display because the store hadn't finished the install. Well,
that's not a problem with the product, right?
Right. Just open the door and da-da-da. Now, kind of like climate change, people are like, well, it's cold in my neighborhood, so climate change is a lie. No, climate change isn't a lie. It's just that regional weather is not the same as climate change. So when a cooler screens is installed and it's not fully installed, it's opaque, you can't see the content, so you have to open the door. So people are ranting and raving about the fact that, well, if I have to open the door, then it's not saving the world from the expense that, or the money saved at the store level by displaying the contents of that cabinet freezer. Once it's installed, you know the quantity, the price, and the item inside that freezer section. But no, cooler heads don't prevail. People freak out and get all antsy about it. And they say it's ruining the experience. Of what? Oh, I had to open up a bunch of doors just to find out what's inside it. Yeah, temporarily. Let them get their shit together and you'll be fine. Anyways, it says we always strive to provide the best possible customer experience. And we terminated our contract with Cooler Screens earlier this year due to their failure to meet contractual obligations. We look forward to the court deciding our claims. Well, they'll probably win if this is any indicator of how hot it's going to be in that courtroom. Cooler Screens told Insider that the issues were caused by Walgreens' outdated and poorly maintained electrical system, which, by the way, if that actually is true, it's not Walgreens' fault. You don't sell a product to... it had to have been somebody either selling to the entire chain all at once. But if Cooler Screens says, hey, if you don't have a grid capable of supporting this draw, you better update. Well, there should have been specs. And if it's wide scale, broad spectrum across a multitude of years of install, like the electrical system for those buildings, Cooler Screens doesn't stand a chance. But I guess we'll see what shakes from the lawsuit. It also pointed to former Walgreens CEO Roz Brewer's skepticism of the screens. Brewer allegedly compared Cooler Screens' product to Vegas in a derogatory way, the Journal reported. Oh no, somebody said that my product sucks. Let's point out that somebody said that our product sucks. Well, I think your product sucks. Honestly, I don't. But
well,
if
It
you
was
install
interesting
it,
at the end. They
Cooler
ended a
Screens.
partnership with CVS.
Yep, the U.S.'s other major drugstore chain. That partnership has also ended. A spokesperson for CVS told Insider last month, and the person did not cite a reason. Well, maybe because they looked over at Walgreens and said, we don't want that happening to us.
Well, and, if you're in a partnership with another company, something happens and you immediately go, well, that's their problem.
Yeah, everybody points at everybody else.
We can kind of see where that's going to go.
Like always, there's minutia within the article that I think that you should go over to businessinsider.com and check out, and show Alex Bitter some attention for writing this neat little article. It's pretty cool. We've been following and I've been aware of Cooler Screens for a while now. I didn't think that it was going to gain any traction. I had closed the door on them quite a long time ago because they put a chill factor on engagement. What you really do want are people walking around and peering inside your ice chests. Why? Because they might get stirred into buying because of an impulse shop instead of clinically walking by a bunch of closed doors going, well, I don't like that picture. I don't like that picture. I don't like that picture. But if they open the door, or they're forced to open the door, yeah, they might like it. Open the door, look inside, find something interesting, bingo bango, a sale. And I think my AI just dropped their connection. So, I
don't think so.
Yeah, I think the connection is back now. Okay, no, you were gone. Yeah,
that's
I don't
weird.
know. Yeah,
I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Let's go on to the next article, though. So the next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Lost in the coffee aisle. Navigating complex buzzwords behind an ethical bag of beans is easier said than done. Well, when you start peeling back the layers of the onion for anything claiming to be ethical, you'll probably find out that somebody's getting screwed somewhere. You're shopping for a bag of coffee beans at the grocery store after reading about the effects on climate change and how little farmers make, typically $40 cents per cup.
I mean, there is inflation, so that might not be that far off.
Man, if a farmer makes 40 cents per cup,
I think that actually sounds good, doesn't it?
That sounds
like
how
many cups are out there.
Load of money. Yeah. Okay,
like
you
if
figure
it was 4 cents or something, I'd still think it was a lot because there are a lot of cups of coffee made.
I am reading that right. That says 40 cents. Y'all in chat or out there on the internet, correct me if I'm wrong. I am reading that at 40 cents per cup.
Okay, we're thinking of cup of coffee, not cup of beans.
I'm thinking cup of beans.
Well, there aren't that many cups of beans in a bag of coffee beans. I don't think.
But it
still
it's just
seems
the
like
beans.
A lot. Right.
Yeah. You figure it might be time to change your usual beans and buy something more ethical. Perusing the shelves of the coffee aisle, though, you may see too many choices. But no, I don't actually see that many choices. In fact, I mean, I see that there is a lot of money for a cup of coffee, right? Or a bag of beans. It's sometimes expensive. But you're talking about the cost to pull them off the trees. Pulling them off and drying them out, that's the basic drying, okay? We're not talking about roasting them because that's done somewhere else. That's not done at the ethical farmer's little lot, right? That's done.
Right. That's a separate organization.
Typically, unless it's just, from farm to table. Wow. I think the sentient AI just threw
completely glitched.
Wow. Anyway, I was gonna just try and power through that, but it was too hilarious not to draw attention to. Although y'all didn't see anything.
You missed some of the steps, though. You didn't even see all of the steps.
There was, I'm not even, because you're a sentient AI. There aren't supposed to be those steps. Anyway, perusing the shelves in the coffee aisle, right? So all of this is not borne by, the regular old, country farmer that is out there somewhere growing coffee beans. Spencer M. Ross from The Conversation, which is a separate website from fizz.org, but that's where it gets posted from time to time. This looks strangely familiar to me.
Yes. It looks like something near ohmTown.
Yeah, I swear I've been in this. Anyway, and so I don't want to dox myself. First up is the red tube of Folgers, 100% Colombian, a kitchen staple. Lively with a roasted and rich finish on the side of the tub.
Not a tube.
I said tub. Did I? No, I said tube. Oh, it's a red tub of Folgers, not a red tube. Anyway, well, the AI is doing something over there. On the side of the tub, you see the icon of Juan Valdez and his donkey, Conchita, a fictional mascot representing the Colombian Coffee Growers Federation. Next might be Starbucks Single Origin Colombia. One side of the green bag, not a tube or a tub, but a bag. I'm looking at you, sentient AI. Tells the story of the beans.
I don't have anything to do with it.
Describing treacherous dirt roads to 6,500 feet of elevation that are worth the journey every time. The other shows a QR code and promises Starbucks is committed to 100% ethical coffee sourcing in partnership with Conservation International. But then when you get to the employers, you try to ruin their union and cut their benefits and marginalize them.
This is about the farmers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so then again, you've heard of the better choice would be to buy from local cafes. The bag from your local roaster introduces you to La Familia Vieira Ahuala, I don't know, Colombia, who have worked as coffee farmers for 4 generations at 1,600 meters above sea level, about a mile. Thanks for... Thank you, conversation. Anyway, so it says, but then there's a flood of unfamiliar lingo. The 88-point anaerobic processed coffee was sourced directly from an importer who has a 6-year relationship with the family, paid $3.70 per pound at Farmgate and $6.10 per pound at FOB at the time when the C market price was $1.60 per pound. If you're about ready to toss in the towel like I am, read on, because this is actually going to describe what all of this means. So fair trade as a benchmark, the coffee industry typically uses the C price as kind of like a stock price. This is the minimum price or median price, I think, the floor. The traded price on the New York Intercontinental Exchange for a pound of coffee ready for export. Fair trade implies that the coffee is fairly traded, often with the goal of paying farmers minimum prices and fixed premiums above the C price. So there are a few different fair trade certifications, such as Fair Trade America, Fair Trade Certified. Each of these has its own voluntary certification. Then they talk about Arabica, single origin, which means this is where it's all coming from and not blended coffee beans. Shade grown, labels indicate that the farm has adopted a more environmentally sustainable method like biomatter, using biomatter like dead leaves as fertilizer for the coffee shrubs growing beneath
and what about
a canopy of
bird friendly? We haven't even touched that topic yet.
How does that work?
That's a whole thing with coffees.
Bird friendly? Why?
Oh,
what do the
absolutely.
little peckers? What do the little peckers do?
I think certain ways of coffee growing are detrimental to bird habitats.
Really? Oh, well, because like they do damage to the trees or something?
I'm not sure about the specifics. I can't remember. I've read about it, but not recently.
It's because they eat all that caffeine and then they're like wired and just buzzing around like crazy. No? Anyway.
That could definitely be it.
That said, farmers, many who have the ability to do shade grown regardless, since it's a better farming practice and save some costs on fertilizer. So the only thing that I think that this is great. I think that fair trade is great. I think that the people that make this should be the beneficiaries of their hard work. Some of the things that I've seen in the production of various raw materials, and here's the real kicker. The people who produce it at the raw material stage sell it to somebody else that's part of the system of global economics and not necessarily connected to it, right? So if somebody in some far-flung country or space isn't sophisticated with their technology and business acumen, they are good enough to make the product but not exploit it to its fullest extent because they don't have the reach. But it's kind of like that trading places thing. You know, every single one of these raw material producers that are in various regions that fall under this fair trade to make the simple fact that you need some consortium to impose fair trade means that people are being exploited because they don't have the connection. So it just troubles me. Now, I also am the type of person that says, well, they wouldn't have anything to sell globally if not for the middle people. But what ends up happening is they get under fair trade, they get more, right? But the ones that don't fall in that category of fair trade, the auspices of fair trade certification, Fair Trade America, whatever you want to call it, fair trade, they're still getting exploited to some degree, because when the retail channel is saying it's $24 a pound of coffee beans, but they're still only making, $1.60, $2, $3, $4 at the source, they're still being taken advantage of because they don't have the supply chain to reach market. And that's where this comes into play. This is just an Unsplash public domain picture, but this is why things are so darn expensive, because there's a physical carbon footprint that's massive, and I can't just buy these beans straight from the supplier. But there are people like me out there who have the business acumen and the technological know-how to go into whatever location these coffee growers are at and go, here is the technology you need, and let's start selling direct to whoever it is that's going to be roasting them. Now you're cutting out the middleman.
That would be preferable, because right now they're getting distributed. You've got a huge carbon footprint, packaging, all kinds of ecological issues of how it's sold right now.
Yeah, and they're selling these massive bags of beans to some distributor who is carving it up like so much, illicit drugs. They're chopping it up and maybe even blending inferior beans to raise the volume, and that's where you get that single source kind of a thing from. They could be throwing in inferior beans to pump it up, and then you don't necessarily taste that inferior bean, but it's made it through. I don't know. It's all about greed at the end of the day. At some level, some degree, there is this. So anyway, I don't want to get too into the weeds. But if you're more interested in getting an ethical bag of beans and you want to know more about it, then go and follow the link that is in our chat, and going to be in the show notes too. And you can go check out this phys.org article. Let's keep on going.
And if you have a favorite coffee brewer, you should put that in the chat.
Oh yeah, that would be great too.
Or via email.
Yep. And you can post a comment over on YouTube, and there's a Discord and a bunch of other things. So there's even a Patreon. Go check it out. ohmTown. Just do a search for ohmTown. You find ohmTown everywhere. It is the crossroads for everything. Hey, look. I went to a car dealership and I bought a gas-powered barbecue. Hyundai recalls 1.6 million gas-powered cars due to potential car fires.
I don't think they're selling barbecues.
It's a mobile barbecue. No? Am I misinterpreting
It's a
this?
really expensive barbecue.
Tell me about it. The window even said $5,000 off. Anyway, after making lots of headlines due to extremely easy to steal nature of some of its cheapest models, Hyundai has a new headache. The Korean automaker is recalling 1.6 million cars in the US after 21 vehicle fires and 22 thermal incidents. I like the tone of that. I guess if the car was on in the process of igniting and rolling away, it would be a thermal runaway, which is a nuclear accident about to happen. Anyway, that have taken place since 2017. Wow. The past couple of years have been a lot of scaremongering from the anti-electric vehicle crowd, except that electric vehicles have their own problems with fire. So come on, let's not leave them out if you're going to be, doom scrolling. But let's go over to Ars Technica. The problem is an ABS module that can leak brake fluid, causing a short, then a fire. Jonathan M. Gitlin is the author. I swear we've talked about this before in maybe a different vehicle, or this has actually been turned into a formal recall and not just some limited run. So when did it all start happening? It has to be. We're actually getting to the point where they're actually doing a full-on recall. In the summer of 2019, Hyundai learned of overheated ABS modules. Yeah, we talked about this. Because in 2021, Hyundai had its first inkling of the problem, finding evidence of brake fluid leak within the unit. Throughout 2021, there were further reports of damaged cars, and Hyundai engaged a third-party engineering firm called Exponent to see if they could determine the root cause. Turns out that it's every single Hyundai from 2012.
I mean, it sure looks like it, right? That is a pretty long list of vehicles, and they're large ranges of time.
2012 to 2015, pretty much. 2011 to 2015 for the Genesis Coupe, or Coupe if you're from England. Anyway, there's quite a few of them, so I'm not going to read this list, but y'all, if you own a Hyundai, you might as well park it outside your garage. Exponent found...
that's what you like when you buy a new car, right?
True.
Well, or new, used, but like you might want to park it in your garage if you're lucky enough to have a garage.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that brought down one of our spacecraft, O-ring, used in the subject's ABS modules consisted of varying rubber material formulations determined through thermogravimetric analysis, which just screams Star Trek. In an update provided on September 6th, Exponent confirmed that certain material formulation used in the O-ring rubber would lose hardness over time. Additionally, the material could be affected by foreign contaminants in the brake fluid, potentially impacting sealing performance. This is a spectacular forensic analysis. They found out that it's a simple O-ring. Will they just replace that? They probably will have like a metric ton of these ABS units, and they just swap them out, bleed the brakes, and send you on your way until the next PSA from ohmTown, where your car doubles as a, I don't know, barbecue again. All right, well, let's keep on going. We got a bunch more articles still. We're only halfway through the show. We kind of need to speed up a bit. So why is your $7 latte $7? Vox.com and Emily Stewart says your expensive coffee habit is indeed getting even more expensive. Not for me. That pumpkin spice latte is going to cost you a pretty penny this fall if you're a connoisseur of fancy coffee and fancy coffee shops, or even just fancy-ish. I would have said fancy adjacent. You've probably noticed that the price of your favorite drink is getting higher than it used to be. Everything is. You're now staring at $8 a drink, plus taxes, and assuming you're doing the right thing here, at least $1 tip. What you might be asking yourself is going on here? You're not alone. Why is my latte so expensive? Is indeed a perennial question, and to that question, 2023 version, this author has answers. Not me, them over at Vox. The cost of your latte is more than the coffee and the milk. Long and short of it, your latte is more expensive. Is that almost everything is more expensive than it was a few years ago. In fact, I can tell you this because I used to regularly talk about the CPI and the PPI. The CPI is the Consumer Price Index. The PPI is the Producer Price Index. And the Producer Price Index is the initial sale of raw materials to the wholesale market channel. Basically, as it starts to move into the retail market, that's the price. And the Consumer Price Index is what people are paying for the finished products, right from the supply chain, or I should say, right from the retail exit. Well, the problem here is the Consumer Price Index is going up 2 points every month, whereas in the 50s, 60s, 70s, it would go up a fraction, maybe a tenth of a point between months. And as soon as oil started getting traded in oil futures and the stock market started trading oil, and OPEC and now OPEC Plus started selling oil, the cost of living has actually gone up, including oil. So really, this is all about greed. We would have more money in the bank if people would just be content with the price of the item plus a little bit of squeezed juice, not quarter after quarter after quarter of 10, 20, 30% profit increases. It's astronomical and untenable. Anyway, it says coffee is a commodity, so its price goes up and down. Its price has actually come down from its 2022 highs, but that was supply chain related issues anyway. You may also notice the rising latte price more because it's something you buy relatively often, and it's the only thing on the receipt when you do. Well, that kind of hints at if you put your head in the sand, you won't notice the temperature increasing.
Right, or if the price is going up but you don't see it on your receipt, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really happen, right? Come on. Anyway, Caleb Benoit, founder and CEO of Connect Roasters, a wholesale coffee company that's about to open its first cafe in Bourbonnais, Illinois. Is that right? At Bourbonnais? Laid out some of the rough numbers on coffee shop economics. Judging only by the coffee milk and lid, the margins for a coffee shop on a latte look great, 70-80%, but that's without the overhead. The author here quotes, I think most healthy coffee shops are probably paying 30% of their revenue out in labor and probably another 10% in fixed costs like rent and utilities, he said. You factor all of that into the equation and your, let's just call it 75% gross margin becomes 10 to 15% net margin. Son of a gun, really? All of your operational costs and you're still at 10 to 15% net margin? That's a real pisser. 10 to 15%. Some restaurants in some areas are surviving off of 1.5 to 3% margin. So owners are trying to scoop up multiple operations so that they can get a 10% overall profit margin.
Wow, and that's kind of risky too, because if one of those dips, then
or the cost of
or
one
multiple ones,
spike.
yeah, right.
And so I know somebody that had somewhere around, what was the number they said? 400,000 plus dollar units. And then 2008 came and it collapsed. The whole house of cards collapsed because prices spiked. Anyway, yeah, the factoring everything into the equation and coming out on the other side, which 10 to 15% is a huge range. Considering you're just one small shop, you're not Apple getting the benefit of a more capable supply chain. Yeah, come on, 10 to 15% is respectable. Anyway, Patrick Sullivan, who owns the coffee house with his wife in downtown Burlington, Wisconsin, says that he was terrified when they decided to hike their prices earlier this year, but they felt like they had no choice. It was death from a pricing perspective. By 1,000 cuts, he said. Anodynes got to raise their bean cost 10%. Our alternative milk went up 15%. So almond, oat, coconut, their supplier for regular milk, upped prices too. So Sullivan started going to the local Pick and Save where it was cheaper 3 times a week. Eventually, though, they had to start charging more. One of the key factors in all of what I have just read is that the supply, the producers of the materials are charging more, and thus every single level of strata between there and the consumer has to charge more. Or everybody has to keep the price low, smaller margin, and weather this as time goes on and be happy with 3% profit. We're talking about profit, right? Not the cost of operations. We're talking about profit. Profit is everything after everything is paid off. Salary and everything is always included. So profits after that. Anyway, I won't go through all of this. This is quite an extensive article. So I urge you to go over to Vox. It's a long form article from Emily Stewart that goes into greater detail why your coffee is so expensive. But I'm telling you now, the brunt of this article is going to be, well, it's expensive because the producers, as I've been saying for the last 2 years, are charging more. So go pay your $8 for your latte and sit down and read this Vox article.
Or maybe buy ethically grown beans and make your own coffee at home. But then you're not supporting your local economy. So
it's a lose-lose. Drink water. So the next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. Fake property manager allegedly defrauded would-be renters over $200,000. I can't really go into great detail about this because it's just a kind of like a Madeline Garfinkel over at entrepreneur.com put this article together. The deck statement says the real estate market is rough enough and some scammers see it as a prime opportunity. I don't know how this managed to take place. After the first...
Well, how did the people, how did they reside in any of the places if this person didn't have any connection?
The fraudsters lured hopeful applicants and charged application fees and deposits up to $500 despite having no actual ties to the property. Doherty alerted the police and took necessary precautions such as placing signs on the property to warn renters against engaging with random individuals and that there is only one way to rent the property. So the person, Sarong Lee, 29, of Irvine, California, allegedly posed as a property manager and entered into lease agreements with renters for property she did not legitimately represent. $200,000 worth. To carry out the scheme, Lee either fabricated the existence of rental properties entirely or failed to transfer funds to the genuine property owners, according to law enforcement. Lee faces multiple charges, including grand theft, possession of counterfeit identification, and theft by false pretense. Yeah, it's weird. They would have to have... I just don't know.
So they were paying deposits without ever seeing the apartment, basically?
Yeah, or being able to verify who the real owner is of the property. Which I suppose if you see a sign and call the number and they show up, I mean, it's the...
Right. And if they have ID matching that, even if it's fake.
Right. And who asks, hey, I want to see your ID?
For
Come
an
on.
apartment manager? No, you would think the person was the actual apartment manager, right?
Yeah. Ah, scummy people, I tell you. Anyway,
That's a lot of money, though, if it's $500 at a time.
so I guess what needs to take place is there needs to be a registry of those who are representing um, rental units, and then you can just look it up, pull their name and go, okay, this is the authorized representative. But then what if the person says, well, I'm the one that's on that register?
Well, that's true. You mean like they submit to the registry, but they're not actually legitimate?
Well, no, they just post a sign that says, call this
Oh.
number, I'm so-and-so. And I mean, they run the risk of getting caught by the actual person, but that person can't be everywhere. And you build a better mousetrap and smarter mice show up. This person luckily got caught eventually. $200,000 later. It's amazing. The article was originally sourced from Los Angeles Times, but was, reported here on entrepreneur.com. So follow the link, go check it out. Here, let me throw that. I didn't throw it into the chat, so you can go check it out, folks. There you go. Let's go on to the next article. How about this article in Warcrafters? 3 of the top 5 wishlisted Steam games are city builders. The author of this article wants to play them all. It's over at PC Gamer, so let's just jump right on over there. Christopher Livingston writes that 3 of the top 5 wishlisted Steam games are city builders, and they want to play them all. Despite sharing a genre, they're all vastly different games. I love city builders. So let's see. Do they make a nice, easy list? No.
No, that would be too easy.
Yeah, that would make it too straightforward. So as proof that the city builder genre has never been healthier, 3 of the 5 top wishlisted games on Steam right now are all city builders. So 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. Literally, 3 out of the 5.
You're right.
So that's amazing. What's even more interesting is that those games are all extremely different types of city builders. So there's Manor Lords, which is a medieval game. Cities Skylines, which actually runs a spectrum, but it's basically modern city. And let's see. I don't know. Is there another one? Frostpunk 2, which is a post-apocalyptic dystopian future where the world is frozen and has seasons of worse freezing. So this might be a documentary. Or a real life simulator, I should say. That's not depressing. What I really want is Latte. It says a demo of Mountainside City Builder Latte is available, also due out sometime before the end of the year. This one you actually build on the side of a mountain and have to deal with like landslides and other stuff, other events. But it's
I
been
think we
fun.
featured that in a compilation article previously.
Yeah, and because I actually played the demo, I spoke a little bit about it. Great graphics, seemingly straightforward. I don't know anything beyond the demo, so I don't know how funky it's going to get for the final. But Latte Summit Kingdom is over on Steam right now, where you can go and check it out. But I've played all of these. Fabledom I've played, Terrascape I've played, Farthest Frontier I've played, Land of the Vikings, and Haven Dock. I've played all of these. I just don't post it over on Twitch or YouTube because it's me just kind of noodling around with it and not doing a demo or a live play kind of thing. So anyway, go and check it all out over at PCGamer.com. Thanks, Christopher Livingston, which, again, awesome name. Some people have these really
Dr.
great
Livingston,
names.
I presume?
Christopher Livingston. And you shouldn't presume, because that's my name. Not my name. That's their name. Never mind. How about the weirdest article today is in the Hatch Ideas channel. FCC enforces first space debris penalty, or debris, if you want to. $150,000 settlement with Dish. Now, for me, I think Dish basically is space debris, but maybe it's because of their business model. And along with, what's the other one? It wasn't Dish.
DirecTV?
Yeah, DirecTV. I think basically satellite TV is just kind of debris. The FCC announced a settlement with Dish Network on Monday as the regulator's first penalty regarding space debris. I know it's debris. I'm just poking the bear. Michael Sheets, not of the Sheets gas stations, Sheets probably, but Michael Sheets, wrote this article for CNBC. Watch it actually be related to Sheets because it's spelled the same way.
Oh, it's the same spelling, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. FCC announced its first penalty regarding space debris in a settlement with Dish Network. Dish admitted that it was liable for failing to properly dispose of the EcoStar 7 broadcast communications satellite and agreed to pay a fee of $150,000. The FCC called the agreement a breakthrough settlement in the increasingly concerning realm of space debris. There isn't much more to this. I mean, it just says as satellite operations become more prevalent and the space economy accelerates, we must be certain that operators comply with their commitments. Yeah, really? Go after everybody that's shooting stuff up into space from other countries. And I'm not sitting there going, pulling a whataboutism. I'm just saying that, yeah, just like AI, there are people that are going to use AI ethically, and there are going to be countries and people within them that don't use AI ethically. And here we're shooting stuff up into space, but look at all of the Elon Musk microsatellites. There's like 3,000 of those bastards floating around. It's
exactly like, why are they not being pursued?
It's space. Well, because they're actually functional and they probably.
They're active, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, their orbit around the Earth is acting like a minefield, for crying out loud. Aliens are going to start crashing into Earth because they keep hitting these little microsatellites. Anyway, the company had previously agreed to an orbital debris mitigation plan with the FCC to relocate the satellite, but instead of retiring the satellite 300 kilometers away from where it was operating in geostationary orbit, Dish retired the satellite about 122 kilometers away, well short of the disposal orbit.
I didn't know that was such a thing.
That is apparently a thing. A few months before then, Dish found that the satellite didn't have enough fuel enough fuel remaining to navigate to a disposal location. Why didn't it just drop it back into Earth? I mean, it'll tear itself up. And then what? Land in the ocean? Come on, we're dumping nuclear water.
Exactly. That doesn't mean go out there and dump a bunch of things in the ocean, but...
Oh, really? You can't do that? That doesn't solve everything?
No, you shouldn't do that.
Oh, come on. Everybody else is doing it. Why can't I? I want to dump my satellites into the ocean. Come on. Well, the AI says that that's not right. So I guess I'll follow the AI.
No, we have to preserve the oceans for the ecosystem and future generations. And if we keep dumping stuff into the ocean, we're going to have bigger problems.
Wait. That's socialist talk there, AI. I'm going to have to reprogram you. You're supposed to follow the mandate. Got mine. Screw you. No?
Oh, I don't have that module.
The trickle-down economics is basically somebody getting peed on. Anyway, the FCC called the agreement a breakthrough settlement, so I guess it's going to set precedent against all of the other people that are throwing stuff into orbit. You better follow your plan. Otherwise, you're going to get a whopping $150,000 fine, which is about 5 minutes of profit. What a bummer.
I still think this is a good signal to the rest of companies out there.
Sure.
But you're right. It's not going to make a dent for this company.
Sure. Yeah. It's sending a signal, all right. I can make gobs of money and not really give a shit about my satellite I'll just leave it out there and not even bother trying to deorbit it or throw it into whatever that 200 and whatever kilometer distance is. What? 300 kilometer distance away from where it was operating. For crying out loud. 300 or 122, whatever. So they got fined a whopping $150,000, $1,000 for every kilometer they were away from their, what do they call it? Retirement orbit?
Right. I mean, do you have never mind, you just scrolled.
What? There.
Do you have an orbitable, I can't even say orbital debris mitigation plan?
As a matter of fact, I do. And that's called me deorbiting to bed. All right. Anyway, that was our last article for today. So I'm going to drag y'all back to the front page. And this is Main Street. So we click the logo and everything gets refreshed. And it looks like we're going to see the first Apple micro LED display for the watch in late 2025. Maybe that's when I'll update the watches. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. A bunch of other stuff. Yes, there is still a lot of politics. It's because basically we're charging into an election year. And I don't know. There's a lot of political garbage. But you have to be aware of it to some degree. We don't highlight it in ohmTown though. So what I would say is log in or sign up. Here, let's do this. You sign up, you'll sign in, and then you can start swiping stuff left and right to get rid of all the political stuff. There is no way to filter it all out because the aggregator is a holistic aggregator. You personally get to choose what you want to see. So, and it isn't really proactive like that. I don't like the idea of providing a service that creates an echo chamber. So you will see counter views, to your prevailing view, listed right alongside something that might reinforce something that you already have an ideal of. With that in mind, that's it for today. I am Merwat. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the AI, the Ring of Sentience.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, sentient or not.
I don't know what that means, folks. Guess we'll find out tomorrow, so come on back and hang out. See ya. I choose not sentient tomorrow.